The battle for my backyard oasis. My name's Jack, a 50-year-old single guy living in the upscale Willow Creek neighborhood of Florida, where the lawns are greener than a lime smoothie and the rules are tighter than a drill sergeant's schedule. My pride and joy, a shimmering backyard pond, home to fat koi fish that glide up to greet me, water lilies straight out of Monet painting, and a chorus of crickets that lulls me into peace every evening. It's my sanctuary, my escape from the world. But peace doesn't last long when you're under the thumb of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, led by a woman named Deborah, a 60-year-old tyrant with a clipboard and sunglasses so oversized they could double as hubcaps. It all started with a letter because that's how the HOA rolls. Fancy stationery with silver embossing, like they're announcing a royal decree. The note claimed my pond was aesthetically incompatible with community standards and devaluing properties. Devaluing properties? My pond was the only thing keeping this cookie-cutter suburb from looking like a corporate office park. They demanded I fill it in or face a $200 monthly fine. I laughed, crumpled the letter, and tossed it in the trash. Big mistake. You don't ignore Deborah. A week later, I'm feeding my koi, Big Blue, Sparkle, and the gang when Deborah struts into my backyard, flanked by two HOA lackeys who look like they'd rather be at a dentist appointment. Her sunglasses are perched on her nose despite the overcast sky, and she's tapping her foot like a cartoon villain. "Jack," she says, her voice dripping with fake pity, "we've had complaints about your swamp." Swamp? I nearly spit out my coffee. "This is a pond, Deborah. It's got a filtration system that costs more than your SUV. What's the issue?" She smirks. "It's an eyesore, and it's blocking progress." Then she drops the bomb. The HOA wants to expand their snooty 9-hole golf course, and my pond is sitting on land they've earmarked for a new fairway. "We're draining it," she announces, like she's unveiling a new community pool. "It's for the greater good of Willow Creek." I'm stunned. "You can't drain my pond. It's on my property." She waves a manicured hand. "Eminent domain, Jack. Look it up. We'll compensate you minimally." Then she spins on her heels and struts off, leaving me with my fish food and a temper ready to boil over. I tried fighting back. I called a lawyer buddy, who said the HOA was likely bluffing, but fighting them would bankrupt me. I went to a community meeting to plead my case, but it was like arguing with a room full of Deborahs. She flashed a PowerPoint slide labeling my pond a public health hazard, complete with a blurry photo and a graph claiming it was tanking property values by 3%. The crowd nodded like sheep. I stood up, voice shaking. "Deborah, my pond's cleaner than your pool. You just want my land for your golf course." Gasps rippled through the room. Deborah didn't flinch. "Jack, this isn't personal. It's progress." The vote was 90% against me. They'd start draining my pond in 2 weeks. That night, I sat by the water, watching Big Blue swim lazy circles. This wasn't just about fish. It was about my home, my peace, my right to my own land. I wasn't going down without a fight. But how? The HOA was a machine, and I was one guy with a pond and a grudge. The pressure didn't let up. More letters arrived, each nastier than the last. One upped the fine to $300 a month and threatened lawsuits. Another included a drone photo of my pond with violation stamped in red. Who has time to fly drones over my backyard, Deborah? I tried to stay calm, tossing food to my fish and telling myself it'd blow over. Then, at 2 a.m., I woke to a low, guttural hum, like a monster truck idling in my yard. I yanked open the blinds and saw it. A massive pump, hoses snaking into my pond, sucking the life out of it. 2 workers in coveralls fiddled with the machine under flashlight beams. My koi were thrashing in the shrinking water. I stormed outside in a bathrobe, waving my flashlight like a madman. "What the hell are you doing?" One guy, a skinny dude with a ponytail, jumped. "Just following orders, man. HOA hired us to drain this." The other, built like a linebacker, shrugged and kept working. The water was dropping fast. Big Blue was flopping in the mud. I called the cops, but the officer who showed up just scratched his head. "Civil matters, sir. Take it up with the HOA." Civil matter? My pond was being murdered. I begged the workers to stop, but Ponytail handed me a card for Creek Drainage Solutions and said, "Talk to the lady in charge. She's intense." Yeah, I knew who he meant. The next morning, I marched to the HOA office, Deborah's throne room in the clubhouse. She was typing away, sunglasses still on, like she was hiding from the sun indoors. "Jack," she said without looking up, "I assume you're here about the drainage." "It's done." "You're welcome." "Done?" My blood pressure spiked. "You can't sneak onto my property and suck my pond dry. That's illegal." She smirked. "It's not your pond anymore, Jack. It's community property now, per the vote. We'll send you a check for sentimental value." "Sentimental value?" I stormed out, drove home, and ran to the backyard. The pond was a muddy crater, my koi gasping in puddles. Sparkle didn't make it. I spent hours scooping fish into buckets, but the damage was done. I sat in the mud, hands shaking, feeling like I'd lost a piece of my soul. I called my friend Tom, a retired environmental engineer who owed me a favor. "They killed my pond, Tom. It's gone." He was quiet, then said, "Jack, these idiots don't know what they've done. That pond was holding back groundwater for the whole area. They've screwed themselves. Give me a few days." I had little hope, but Tom's confidence was all I had. Meanwhile, the HOA moved fast. By week's end, bulldozers flattened my pond into a lumpy dirt patch. Deborah supervised, strutting around in a hard hat that looked absurd with her blazer. She waved at me like we were pals. "It'll be beautiful, Jack. You'll thank us when you're putting on the 9th hole." I flipped her off and went inside. I was done arguing. I was ready to fight dirty. That night, I couldn't sleep. The silence was brutal. No frogs, no lapping water, just my rage. I Googled HOA laws, water rights, anything. Then I found it, a local ordinance about wetland protections. My pond was part of a natural drainage system. The HOA hadn't filed permits or impact studies. They'd messed up, and I'd make them pay. Tom called with more ammo. "Your HOA's dumber than dirt. That pond was a protected wetland. They're facing fines, lawsuits, maybe jail time." Jail time for Deborah? I liked the sound of that. Tom had contacts at the county water board. "File a complaint," he said. "They'll move fast." I drafted a complaint, half legal document, half rant, with photos of my pond before and after, drone shots from a neighbor's kid, and every HOA letter. I emailed it to the water board, CC&G Tom. But I wasn't just banking on bureaucracy. Florida's rainy season was coming, and Tom said the groundwater would turn their Fairway into a swamp. I rallied allies, neighbors fed up with Deborah. There was Lisa, a single mom fined $500 for her kid's chalk art, and Mike, a retired firefighter dinged for parking his truck too aggressively. We met at my place, plotting over beers. "We record everything," Lisa said, waving her phone. "When that Fairway floods, we go viral." Mike grinned. "I know a guy with a drone. We'll get aerial shots." This wasn't just about my pond anymore. It was about humiliating the HOA. The storm hit like a sledgehammer. I set up a lawn chair on my porch, cracked a beer, and watched the sky unload. By midnight, the Fairway was a bubbling, muddy mess, water pooling like it was auditioning for a lake. I toasted the clouds. "This one's for you, Sparkle." By morning, the Fairway was a swamp, reeking of wet dog. Golf carts were half submerged, sprinklers hissing uselessly, the whole 9 flag floating like a lost buoy. Lisa and Mike were out, phones rolling, while Mike's buddy buzzed his drone overhead. We laughed till our sides hurt. "Better than Netflix," Lisa said, zooming in on a soggy divot. Deborah showed up by noon, raincoat flapping, sunglasses on, screaming at a landscaping crew who looked defeated. "Fix it," she shrieked. "This is unacceptable." The crew pointed at the ankle-deep water, shrugging. I strolled over with an umbrella. "Tough day, Deborah. Maybe you shouldn't have touched my pond." She spun, face crimson. "This is your fault, Jack. You and your voodoo." I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my umbrella. "Nah, Deborah. This is just Florida being Florida." The water board inspector, a no-nonsense guy named Greg, arrived that afternoon. He took one look at the swamp and shook his head. Textbook violation. No permits, no studies, and they disrupted a wetland. They're in deep. I handed him my complaint packet, and he nodded like it was gold. "We'll handle it." Days later, the HOA was slapped with a $50,000 fine and ordered to restore my pond at their expense. The county halted the golf course expansion, citing environmental damage. Lisa's videos went viral locally, racking up thousands of views and comments like Deborah got what she deserved and saved Jack's pond. The pressure broke Deborah. She resigned, blaming personal reasons, but we all knew it was the public shaming. Restoring my pond took weeks, but it was glorious. The HOA hired a crew to excavate the fairway, rebuild the pond, and install a filtration system better than my old one. They even paid for new koi, including a big guy I named Thunder. When it was done, the pond sparkled, water lilies blooming, frogs croaking like they'd never left. I stood there, watching Thunder swim, and fell whole again. The HOA limped on, replacing Deborah with a quieter guy named Mark, who promised to loosen their iron grip. Progress, I suppose. To celebrate, I threw a barbecue by the pond, inviting the whole neighborhood. Lisa brought her killer coleslaw, Mike grilled burgers, and even the mayor showed up, probably to dodge Deborah's stink. We laughed, swapped HOA horror stories, and toasted to sticking it to the man. I put up a sign, "Don't mess with Jack's pond." It got more cheers than the burgers. Looking back, the best revenge wasn't a fist fight or a lawsuit. It was letting Deborah and the HOA trip over their own arrogance. They thought they could steamroll me, but they forgot about Florida's rain, my stubbornness, and a little thing called justice. If you're facing your own Deborah, dig in. Find their mistakes, and let nature or a viral video do the rest. What do you think? Have you ever faced a bully like Deborah or an HOA that crossed the line? Drop your story in the comments. I read them all. Let's talk about power, injustice, and standing up for what's right. Was I wrong to fight dirty, or was it justified? Take a stand and share your thoughts. If you loved watching Deborah's fairway sink, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of suburban rebellion.